Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the Art Beat. The name is Chisumu Nyorinda, and today we are talking music. We are going to be having a chat with Lucent The Violinist. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm alright, and yourself?
I am good.
Great.
Lucent The Violinist, already that is ringing a bell. They're like, what's going on? I understand Gudi Umabanga play an instrument called the violin.
Yes.
But first of all, I really want to know, is Lucent your real name? Or it's just a nickname or something like that? What's your real name?
Okay, so Lucent is my real name. Given at birth.
Okay.
Yeah, then the violinist was just added there. But my full name now goes Lucent Shao. Yes.
Lucent Shao. Yes. Moti conversation ni tingayo ya mshtumbuka makola waka. All right, is that nice? Sure, yeah. Lucent, violin is not a common instrument. Yes. What inspired you to pick it up and making it your own thing? Lucent.
Okay. I think the history goes back to when I was going into secondary school. Yeah. In primary school, no, I was a football fan.
Okay.
But then in secondary school, because now I moved from staying in the village, then I went to stay with my dad in town. I think that's where now things started to change, because with him, it was like a choir leader kind of at church. So me being a football fan, and then we had these conflicts all the time. Yeah. When it's Saturday, I want to go for the game.
He wants to
take me to choir. So yeah, because you know, fathers those days, if you disobey, probably there's a consequence after that. So yeah, I started going to church and singing in the choir. Then later on, because now even the church setup has changed from the village to the town one.
Type of
church. Yeah, town type of church. They use instruments and things like that. By the way, I belong to New Apostolic Church.
Okay.
So they had a very small orchestra by that time, meaning to say they had 6 violins the time I was joining in, and then a lot of recorders, small flutes. Yeah, and then I got the interest to join. Okay. So on the entry point, you are exposed to learning the flute, the recorder thing.
Okay.
So I did that for about 2 years, and then later on I started playing the cello.
Okay.
Yeah. So after playing the cello for some time, I didn't play violin in church that much.
Okay.
Yeah, but then back in 2012, I decided to go to South Africa. So whilst there, that's when now I met the violin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from 2012, you started learning and you made it your own.
Yes. So most of the time it was like me being in South Africa, and I also went to church. So then finally I met this good-looking girl.
Okay, let's hear it.
Again, the first violin that I played was her violin.
Okay.
Yeah. So she gave me the violin out of stupid love things, stories. Yeah, and then I used to practice it at home over YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a lot of YouTube tutorials.
So you didn't actually go to school to learn a violin?
No, I didn't have that opportunity.
You learned a violin through YouTube videos?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was basically YouTube. And then after some time, I got some cash. Then I used to attend 3 lessons per month with a music professor, David. But it was too costly for me to have. So it was 30-minute session. I remember by that time it was around 250 rands. So that's quite on the higher side. But that's the guy who helped me now to perfect some of the skills. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So from 2012, this is 2025, you've been playing the violin ever since South Africa. Now you're in Malawi. At what point did you come back to Malawi? Kubangira kuti kumalawi kuno obviously mwina ma violin isagwiritsidwa ntchito as much as mwina industry ya ku South Africa. How was the difference like? Komanso mwina transition yake inali motani kwa iwe kuti uchoke ku environment yoti mwina ma violin upangidwa embrace kwambiri ndio ubwere no ku environment yoti enaso mwina phindula kaosabalona bwino te ande bora titane wa gitara.
Okay, so I came back in 2017.
Okay.
So 2017, this is what I did actually. So before leaving Johannesburg, I had a friend in Blantyre He owns Distinct photo studios.
Okay.
So this guy is here and he's looking at some of the content that I post on my YouTube channel. And he says, man, but we can do something about this.
Yeah.
It looks like the violin can also play pop music and jazz and things that people love. Oh, wow. So he proposed that when coming, I should host 3 concerts. So one in Blantyre, one in Lilongwe, and one in Zuzu. Okay. So in Blantyre, we booked Malawi Post Corporation Hall. And Lilongwe, the first performance happened at, there was a restaurant just after Siku Transport. I'm sure it's still there. Dreamland.
Yeah, Dreamland.
So
oh, yeah.
That
Dreamland.
was where I performed first. So we had this whole thing advertised properly. The turn-up was okay. In Blantyre, they influenced most of us from the Polytechnic students.
Nice.
We had a good. Then that was my entry point. So my first performances came the same week I arrived. And then we posted that content. And then later on, I came back to Lilongwe when I got a job. I got my first job with a Korean music school. It was in 2005. Then what I decided was, okay, people don't know the violin, but I think let's probably just have an open jam session. So I picked my small Bluetooth speaker and I went by Garitos.
Okay.
So here's me playing. And then within a short period of time, there was a big circle of people watching and people cheering. I was like, oh, I think I got this
is it.
And that was it. So from there, I got my first crowds. It was from small birthdays. And then from the small birthdays, it was now the corporate people coming in. And then, Lucent The Violinist started that way.
Oh,
for sure.
Okay. That is really interesting. So now, has there ever been a collaboration with other musicians? Because apart from you just performing as a violinist, I'm looking at Kubanga incorporate with other instrumentalists. Has there been such kind of collaboration yet?
Okay, a lot of them have happened. And I should also I think I should mention a few people that also helped to publicize the violin instrument here. I think there was another show, Caspar Nyarwes came here.
Oh, yeah.
BICC. So, and then he brought another violinist from Zambia, Kathleen. So she came, played, and then she played after I played, but I was in the band with KOK.
Okay.
So I wasn't like given the spotlight to like, yeah. But that was, I think, one of the shows that also contributed to this. So would say, yeah, there was a collaboration there with the band that used to back up KOK. By that time, it was not the KOK we know. And then in terms of recording, I've done a couple of recording with Lulu. Lulu's piece, what was that? Better Higher Potential. There's a violin in there. I did that. There's Kwamba's song. There's a violin, and it's basically I think that's it. And then not forgetting Tigrin. Tigrin also gave me a big spotlight in Blantyre.
Yeah. Let's not forget that.
Actually, that was massive because it was like a free show at the Upper Stadium in Blantyre.
And it was packed.
It was packed, and by that time my electric violin was okay. It was a blast.
Okay.
That was really good.
So when you say, Guji, I'm going to say you've been booked by a corporate entity, Ugabanga Perform, how do you do this? Do you have your own songs? Do you write your own songs? Do you do cover songs? Explain to me how your performance looks like. Lucent The Violinist as I event.
Okay, for me, okay, so with my background, having been listening to local pieces, like, I used to grow up listening to the Thomas Chibadis, like literally local Malawian artists. I used to enjoy that. And then when I realized that the violin now has the potential to make money, then I looked at the audience to say, okay, which one could be the first audience to attack here?
Yes.
And then I looked at, okay, let's start with those 40 plus. So I started listening to the old jazz pieces like the Louis Armstrong, Frank Sinatra's, things that I never listened to. Like, those old school stuff.
Yeah.
So I used to practice those on the violin. And what I realized is the generation that has money right now are people in 40s. The 30s, if you play for you right now, it'll be, oh wow, this song's nice. It's the latest song. It's cool.
Cool.
No
and
money.
Then it ends there.
You play, so you go to a corporate function, you got CEOs in 40s, they would really want to listen to whatever they were listening back then. Yeah. So the moment you bring in those, the whole room is like, oh wow.
On fire.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So basically, I started doing that. And then as time goes, we now take on board the new release pieces. So more of the cover pieces for corporate events, because that's what people relate to.
Yeah.
I am very classical at heart. So in my own space, and if I am doing my own show, most of the times you listen to the Mozarts, the Beethovens, that is my circle. I love classical music a lot.
Okay.
But eventually it is not a lot of people that relate to classical pieces.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Lucent, playing the violin, getting hired for gigs, is that the only thing that you do to earn a living in your life?
No. So Lucent is a trained music teacher. Yeah, I did my music education with Shine Music School in SA, and then I did UNISA, and then I also incorporated ABRSM, a UK board, the Royal School of Music.
Okay.
So those are my qualifications in music. I hold a diploma in music, so I'm a teacher at Lilongwe Academy. Apart from that, Lucent also owns his own music school, so probably this space that we're in here, this is basically a classroom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not only do you teach the violin?
No, so I teach violin, I teach cello, I teach viola, I teach piano, I teach flute.
Okay.
So yeah, but basically what happens here mostly is the string section and the keyboard instruments.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna go back to the violin. Can you pass me that piece?
Right. There you go.
You know, a lot of people, we're like lost. A lot of people wouldn't even tell. If someone, you show this to someone, they'll be like, oh, it's a small guitar.
A small guitar, yeah, exactly. Actually, someone mocked me, says, oh, so you went to school to study.
A small
You couldn't
guitar.
pay tuition for the bigger guitar, so you paid for this. I was like, okay, fine.
I want you to take me through just real quick, what makes a violin a violin?
All right, so in the first place, you know, all these acoustic instruments need to have a board.
Okay.
Basically, that's where sound is built, and then you see the violin has got these, we call them F holes.
Okay.
So that's where now the sound comes out of. You compromise these ones, any enlargement you make to this
Will affect
the whole quality of the sound.
Okay.
Yes. And
so they're not just for decoration.
You know, it's not for decoration. Those holes are really, really important.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you've got your chin rest here. Something very different from a guitar. A guitar doesn't have
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't also have this, what we call a tail, a tailpiece.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you've got the fingerboard there. And the guitar fingerboard has got flats. This one is plain. Just
plain, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and this is where you
So those are the pegs. You tune. When you tune and then you think you're very close to the pitch, then you adjust using these fine tuners.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the thingy.
The bow.
I'm going to call it the thingy because I don't know. What is this?
So this is called a bow.
A bow as in bow and arrow?
B-O-W, yes, bow and an arrow, yes.
Okay.
So basically that's it.
Okay, whatever.
You can make sound. You can make sound. Only
Okay.
If you
Wait, how do I hold the... I was holding it wrong?
Yes, please.
This is how
so
do I hold it?
basically, this being a chin rest, you put your left side of the chin. So basically, it's just
like that.
take the chin, put it here.
And then
For basics, you just now with this, you know, you can't really play from here, but it has a specific area where it makes you sound. So you can make that. You can try to do that.
I left
Yes.
chin
Left.
hold. Am I holding anything? No.
I'm not going to teach you how to hold the bow, but just do it this way and make sure you're moving up the string. There we go. Sound is there.
Okay,
So
sounds like sad music. All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know, in everything that we do as people,
Most
and I understand your community as not only instrumentalists, but especially someone that plays a violin, a cello. What has been like Mavuro where you can pinpoint Kudine throughout my journey as a Malawian violinist? These are the challenges that I'm meeting, and I would love Kudi someday these problems would go away and make the world a better place.
Okay, as a violinist, I can say yes. Acceptance to the instrument was a big deal also. Yeah, you'd walk into a show, you know, you've been booked for a show. Someone has spent money on booking, and then you just find majority of the audience before you start playing. No, especially in clubs. It used to happen like this in clubs. So you know, people are having their drinks and fun moments.
They're like,
we can't listen to that. Yeah. But eventually, I think the magic works. You know, the first two performances, then wow, so this is what.
Yeah, because I think from the look of things, you know, violin is like sad music.
Yes, people expect you to play those.
Yeah, you know, all those type of things. Yeah. But from what I've seen you do, like incorporating different kind of sounds, local jams, you know, I'm gonna ask you to do one of your pieces, but yeah, like I love how you just bring in different kind of like even the Malawian traditional music, bringing it into the violin. Sounds that not a violin, which is really good. All right, so
another thing that I would want maybe to the general public to also like just have a mindset change over, especially from the parent side of it, because as I said, I'm a teacher, so I enjoy teaching more as well. So I teach violin to kids with an aim to grow this industry. Maybe in future we can have proper orchestras in the country. You know, let's have like a Lilongwe youth orchestra, perhaps.
Orchestra, yeah.
You know,
because right now, if you're speaking of orchestras, then it's probably just these private schools.
Exactly.
Okamuzi Academy, Lilongwe Academy, you know. But there are a lot of young people, Magero, they're into music, proper music.
And it's a big entrepreneurship thing to belong into music. It's really, I can tell you now, music is make money. Music is make money, and I'll quote what KOK did on the other interview. He said, you know what, I post things on YouTube, I get money this week, the next week I'm called again to get more money. So I think let's have this mind change to say music is no longer it's
no longer a hobby.
You know, it's no longer a hobby. There's money into this thing. Let's invest our kids to learn instruments, especially these instruments, very rare instruments, like these trumpets, what. It's, you know, it's my plea that one day it could manifest.
Yeah. Someone might be watching and they're like, I have two left hands. That probably wouldn't do it right. But I would love to learn. What would be your advice to someone like that? Or and they're like, I would love to learn a violin or any instrument. Well, specifically a violin. What would be your advice to Antungada?
Okay, so there's one secret with all the musical instruments generally. In musical instruments, we don't believe someone's hand is stronger than the other.
Right.
You know, so we think, okay, these are psychomotor skills that need to be developed in your arms and things like that. So you can, it's more like in football, you know, you can tell Ronaldo that, okay, you are just a left guy. No, he's both right and left, equal, you know. So we make these hands work in equal.
With practice.
Exactly, with practice. And there's no person on earth who would say, I can't play an instrument when my arms are like this. Unless maybe proper disabilities. But a normal person can learn a musical instrument anytime. And these things, apart from talent being there, but they can be learned. Yeah, what separates between a talented musician and a learned musician is just the delivery of the performance itself. So you'll see maybe less chemistry in the guy who just learned, and then more chemistry into the talent, because it's like more like an inborn thing. Yeah, it's just the expressions, but otherwise, in terms of skill, everybody can learn a violin.
All right.
Yes.
High school is and also you can learn to play a violin, even more specific, any instrument that you want to play. Kind of drums, kind of piano, kind of cello, or some movies. We have people that can actually teach you and you can actually make money.
Exactly.
Out of it, a lot of money actually. All right, so right now, And I'm going to go back to perform. I want you to give us a Kama performance right now.
Okay.
Give us a Kama performance.
Let's do that.
I'll be hyping you wherever I can.
Okay. All right. So a violin also sometimes can be amplified, especially these acoustic ones.
Oh, so this is an acoustic.
Yeah, this is an acoustic. An electric one, you just jack it in, and then there you go. But this one, you can play with or without amplification.
So you're going to amplify it?
I will just amplify it just a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for a violin, does it have like similar chords with the guitar?
Yes, it has.
So you'd say it's easier for someone who has played a guitar before to learn a violin?
Yes, it is. Okay. Same like the transitioning from here to the guitar.
Okay.
But the difference now is this. Okay, so you might experience some difficulties as well when you're changing from a guitar to this, because this one is more of a melody instrument. A guitar is more of a chord instrument. So even for me to pick up a guitar, I'll really have to like adjust your fingers. There's some funny games that happen. While in violin, basically, it's just mastering.
All right.
Sure.
Let's go. So what are you playing us?
Okay, what should I play for you? Okay, let me play. I love Louis Armstrong.
Okay, let's go,
Louis. A jazz guy, and this is What a Wonderful World.
Okay, let's get it. Woo! That was a proper performance.
Thank you.
That was really great.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So when you're going to perform, basically, what do you need? Like, just take me through your ritual.
Okay.
Your performance ritual. Goody, how do you get ready? How do you prepare yourself to make sure that you kill it like you just did right now?
All right. So basically, in terms of my gear, for my performances, normally I just go with my violin, and most events normally they have a proper PA system, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You just jack into the violin mic.
Do you do like sound checks or you just
yes, sound check is very very important because you need to like adjust some of the frequencies from the main amplifier and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So
sound check is important. It's quite a quick sound check.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, it only just takes 5 minutes to get set, and then I'm into the performance when
All
I'm
right.
doing my solo performances. Yeah, and also sometimes I play with a live piano accompaniment. I love doing that.
Okay.
Only that I think the person who used to do a lot of my accompaniments now is at Polytechnic doing some studies.
All right.
I also play with string quartet, and I love the fact that now in Blantyre, I need to mention this one. In Blantyre, there is now a proper string quartet of some of the boys I would probably say are inspired.
But yeah.
So there's a proper string quartet. They call it the Black Canon string quartet. Yeah, no, I see it's playing most in weddings in Blantyre.
Weddings, yeah.
Really, really cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, and I work with those guys. If I want to do a show, it just depends with what the client wants.
Yeah.
Yes, so
For
we've
you
got
to
different
deliver.
packages of Lucent The Violinist.
Okay.
Yes.
My final question to you, what would you point out as like your best performance since you started performing?
Okay, one of my best performances. Which one is the highlight? Okay, I've got like, okay, I'll categorize them here. The show in Blantyre was really good. The Tiger show, it was great simply because, you know, this is an open air, and to move an audience that have seen no violin in their life, just popping up, jumping up, that was
You're
like,
okay, yeah.
Thousands of you doing it. That still sticks in my head.
Yeah.
And then another performance, now this will be me directing an entire orchestra. Yeah, so I directed an orchestra last year.
That was at Leonga Academy?
No, so there is an organization called National Music Department.
Okay.
So it's for classical music and
yeah.
musicians as well. So we had a concert at BICC last year. I don't know whether you guys came to cover that. I don't know. But it was, yeah, we kind of not filled BICC, but it was in December. Yeah, so I was directing that concert, and it was really one of the greatest performances I would ever want to look back to.
All right, man.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for inviting me to your program.
Of course. I really enjoyed every bit of this. I mean, I would love to be a student because the violin is very fascinating, and it's also kind of portable, which makes it easier, you know.
It's romantic at heart also.
Right. All right, if that's all we had time for in this edition of The Art Bit, and today, Timashia Sandel Lucent Shawa Amene Ali, a violinist. I'm a play violin. He has shared his journey. He has shared some of his pieces. Anybody can learn any instrument. It's just a matter of putting the determination right in front of you. The name is Chisomo Yorenda. Please do make a date with us again every Tuesday from 6 p.m. for new episodes of The Art Beat. Until next time, stay creative.